Hello, hello. Hello, hi Magla. Hello, hello, hello. Um, hello, hello. So, this is a bit of an earlier stream. I think yesterday I started stream at midnight, but I kind of today was actually kind of an easy day for me. Like, I I didn't really have a whole lot of work to do, and yeah, so I kind of just got done with everything like super early. And like my cousin visited me, so we went and like got food, so I didn't really have to cook. So I had a lot more free time today than I usually do, which is why I'm starting a bit earlier than I usually do. This is probably gonna be like a pretty short stream, like probably like maybe an hour and a half, maybe probably like an hour and a half. But as you can see, I finally got around to like adjusting the lighting of my model so it kind of blends in better with my background. Up until now, I've just been kind of like really contrasting with the background. But Yene, what? I think she is that. I hope I didn't like butcher her name. Yena, sorry, Yena kind of told me how to adjust the lighting in VTube Studio. So yeah, we are slightly darker now. Okay, so basically, like, I kind of have a problem. So as I've said like multiple times before, I have this side hustle where I get a bunch of mail every day, like a lot of mail. And so what that means is like if there's ever a day, like for example, every Sunday where I don't get my mail, then like obviously on Monday I get twice as much mail, right? And it's even more mail because it's twice as much. So this, and so at my apartment complex, like my mailbox is literally not big enough for them to fit all the mail. So what they've been doing is they've been putting all my mail in like a box, and then they just like they leave it in the package room with like a code I need to enter. But the kind of the challenge with that is that the receptionist girl, I think she's the one responsible for actually sorting all the mail. And like today, I know I received mail because I can like see it on my tracking, but she didn't put all, or she didn't like send out, maybe she sorted it, but she forgot to like scan it and send me a code. But I couldn't get my mail today, and I'm pretty sure it's sitting in the package room. And it's like really bad because it's like really bad, right? Because like the other thing is that they're gonna be closed both tomorrow and Saturday for Independence Day. So like, and USPS is gonna deliver on. I know they're gonna deliver tomorrow, so at least like the mail I get tomorrow, I can try to get from my mailbox, hopefully, because they won't be able to like, obviously they won't be able to take it inside. There will be no one in there, I think. So I can get my mail tomorrow, but I'm gonna have to wait until Monday to get my mail, and that's gonna be what, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's gonna be 4 days worth of mail. Like, I kid you not, I'm probably gonna have like multiple boxes of mail that I'm gonna have to pick up. Like a worst perfect storm almost. I'm thinking about like going a little like earlier on Monday so I can like at least get like the first set of mail from all the days before, and then go like again later on Monday to get the rest of it that was delivered that same day. But yeah, no, Monday is gonna be extremely busy. Like, I may not be able to stream on Monday because I'm gonna literally spend probably a couple hours opening mail, I imagine. I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you, Magla, for you coming along again. I have my water here. Yum yummers. Today's a good day. Today's a good day. Like, I sold a bunch of stuff to my cousin. I got like rid of a lot of my inventory, and then we went and had like pho at this Vietnamese restaurant. And obviously I don't have work tomorrow. Yippee! My company's like giving us. Hi, Revex. Hello. I'll just call you Vex. Hi, Vex. You're new here. That you are. Hello. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So my company gives us Friday off, Friday off, even though technically Independence Day is on Thursday, or sorry, Saturday. I think actually, I might go visit my aunt. Apparently they're doing like a little celebration thing for July 4th at their house. So I'm on the fence about it because I don't know if anyone would want to hang out that day, like anyone else. But if I don't have any other plans, I'm gonna go visit my aunt and her family. I think all of them are gonna be over there. It's kind of weird. So like, I don't, as I mentioned before, I don't really like visit my family because we're not on good terms. So like my aunt and her family, they always invite me for like their holidays. But obviously it does feel kind of strange, being like they're still family, but they're not like my immediate family, right? So it does kind of feel a little strange when I'm like the odd one out whenever I spend, when I go over there. I'm sure that's not how they think about it, but still, it's kind of awkward. I've actually spent a lot of Christmases with my friends' family, and a lot of Thanksgivings as well. Like that's like why I'm so like eternally grateful for my friends, because they know, that friend in particular knows I don't really talk to my immediate family anymore. So he like always goes out of his way to invite me to his family stuff. So I'm really happy about that. I'm really kind of him. Okay, so other than that, I don't know. I went to the gym today, like I usually do. My numbers were actually not bad. I hit all my numbers, but I think I've already like hit the point where like I've plateaued. Like so I can do the number of like the target amount of like sets and reps I want to do for like at one particular weight, but I can't do that same amount of reps for like the next level of weights, if that makes sense. So like, I'll give you an example. I can like probably like, I don't know. I can do like, for example, I can do like incline bench press, right? And right now I do that with like 25-pound dumbbells, and I can do that, but it's like, it's really close to failure. So like, I can't do that same amount with 30-pound dumbbells. So that's to say that like I've kind of like plateaued in my strength, and I imagine like all like the remainder of my time until like I hit the weight I want to be at is just gonna be, for the most part, doing the same amount of weight like over and over and over again, which in some sense kind of sucks, because like, even when you're losing weight, even though it makes sense, it does kind of feel bad when you're not getting stronger. But I'm not at a point right now where I feel like I need to gain weight to gain more muscle. That'll come after the cut naturally. And also, I mentioned this during my last stream, but I'm not gonna I think I'm talking like fairly softly right now, but I'm not gonna talk like super soft like I used to. I realized that I can't really talk that softly for a prolonged amount of times, or like it strains my vocal cords. Like my voice will crack every like other word, and then a few times I've like choked on like a dry throat. I don't know, it's just not kosher. Like I can do it for like a few minutes, but I definitely I definitely cannot talk like this for like an entire stream. Like that's not happening. And like that's already like beyond the point. And, like naturally, I feel like I'm someone that like, kind of yaps really quickly. Like, a lot of thoughts come to me quickly. So kind of having to restrict myself to talking like at that pace to like I guess conserve, or not conserve, to conserve like that tone is not fun. Like generally speaking, the softer I make my voice, the slower I have to talk to maintain it. Yeah, so I think like the way I'm talking right now is probably a pretty good medium. I also kind of feel I don't like, as a forewarning, I don't think I'll do another 4 a.m. stream. Don't quote me on that. I don't think I'll do another 4 a.m. stream. I mean, it really just depends if I can fall asleep at that time. If if I'm wide awake in bed, I'll probably just get up and do another stream. My sleep schedule is like so bad right now. I don't even know how I'm functioning. Like today, I went to sleep, today I went to sleep at, I think like it was somewhere between like 5:30 a.m. and 6 a.m. And then my cousin visited me and woke me up at like 8:30. So I did not get more than 3 hours of sleep last night, or I guess it's more accurate to say last morning. But somehow I managed to like get through the day like fairly fine. I did take like, I think like a 2 to 3 hour nap after work. But even then, if you sum that all up, that's still not like 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So I have been certainly like neglecting my sleep and my diet lately. I need to like get on that. I need to stop skipping my lunch break and actually cook lunch. I guess like it's really tempting for me to just be like, okay, I'll just work during my lunch break and like leave, or not leave, but stop working an hour early. I feel like I'd rather do that. And then, well, if I really think about it, right, if you think about that, like that kind of gives you more time in essence, because I can cook. Oh, thank you for the follow, Calypsy VT. Oh, VTuber, question mark, VTuber. Sorry, I get kind of excited whenever another VTuber follows me. I get like really excited. Where was I? Okay, yeah. So, if you think about it, right, if you take your lunch break, and I work from home, so if I take my lunch break at 12 o'clock, I can actually like cook. I can cook my food and eat it like in 30 minutes, because I cook like really simple stuff. So the other 30 minutes, like I usually just spend like doing any chores I have, if I have any. But a lot of times I literally just sit around and wait the 30 minutes. Like, technically I guess I could just go back to work and then leave 30 minutes early. I guess that'd be the same thing now that I think about it. Oh, you are? Oh. And I'm gonna guess you probably do ASMR. Or a lot of ASMR. Okay, I'm stalking. Let's see. Oh my. Okay, now I'm curious. I have to listen to your voice. Anyone that does ASMR, I have to preview their voice naturally. Oh my goodness, you have such a good voice. Oh my goodness. Let me give you a follow. Okay, that's enough fanboying. But how are you? Hello. How did you stumble across my little abode, my little place in the woods? Well, I guess to be fair, like there really aren't that many ASMR VTubers, and there's even less like male ones. Like I bet if I look right now, there will not be more than 3, including me, male ASMR VTubers. Let's take a look. I was recommend. Really? Oh my god. Oh my god, that's insane. I didn't think Twitch actually helped me accomplish anything. Like, I think we all know like the Twitch like recommendation algorithm or like whatever is pretty terrible for discovery. So like that is like genuinely surprising that like it's actually pushing me out to people for once, I guess. Yeah, so I hunted you down as soon as I saw, of course. Really? Thank you. Do you do like trigger-based ASMR, or I don't really do triggers. I mean, maybe I will one day, but lately I kind of just talk about random stuff, softly, obviously. Oh, and lately we've also started reading picture books on stream, which I'll probably do if more of my regulars show up. We'll read some like picture books together. RP? Yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed to do RP because I feel like most RP is kind of like intimate RP. It's like, like you're role playing, like being like the chat's like, significant other. And so that's already kind of embarrassing. Oh, it does? What else? What is there typically? Like what? Think of a traditional ASMR on YouTube? Traditional ASMR? Isn't traditional ASMR like, oh, I see. You mean, I guess you mean more so like in the actual, I didn't think about that. Yeah. So like the focus is like you're hoping that like the scenario gives you the opportunity to like make unique sounds. I was thinking more like it's literally just like the actual script itself. Well, I see what you mean. I guess like, the haircut one is a pretty popular role play scenario. That being said, I do think I'd be pretty good at the boyfriend one. Not that I would ever do it, but I think I'd be pretty good at it. I think my scripts are also, I write once in a blue moon I'll write like an RP scenario, and usually I think they turn out pretty well. Yeah, but no, I kind of just like talk, and I kind of pray to God that people stop by and talk to me to keep. It's obviously a lot more difficult to like talk into the void for an hour and a half. I can do it, like it's not impossible. Like I've gotten like pretty decent at it, but God knows it's a lot easier if there's even just one person like you talking to me. What you like to do is perfect. So like I appreciate you like engaging with me, but I imagine like if you're like most ASMR viewers, you prefer to lurk. And like me personally, when I listen to ASMR, I usually just like put it in the background, or like I'm listening to it right before I go to bed. But in general, like I wouldn't say I'm a very active chatter, especially in like chats that are not like my friends. I would say you like at some point to finish someone. Oh, art, nice. Hi Zoo, hello. This is like an exceptionally early stream right now, so maybe you can stick around. And this stream is a lot earlier than I usually stream. You're yapping, I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been like really blessed lately. Like, I at least like almost every single stream I do, I get to meet a new like ASMR VTuber. You're tired from work? No. Wait, what do you do now? I remember like a long time ago you used to work in the hospital, but like you quit that job, right? What do you do now? Wait, don't you work in the... a garden, right? I'm not misremembering that, right? You work in a garden, right? Or did that change too? I don't know if you ever met Yaz, but she like in a similar way, she quit her like sucky job at like, I think she was like a barista, but now she works in like an arts and crafts store, and I think she likes it a lot more. I moved back home. I work in a daycare now with babies. Oh my god, I don't know if I trust that you have the motherly touch. Me personally, I could almost certainly never do that. Not only because like I don't really know how to care for like children, but also like I have a hard time like entertaining children. I'll give you an example. Like, you know how when a lot of people talk to babies, they do like the baby voice? You know, they like, I don't know how to describe it, but like they do like the little baby voice, right? Like I don't do that. Like I talk to the kids like normal. I'll literally just talk to them like I'm talking to anyone else, because like to me it almost seems odd to like talk to them like that. I work in elementary classes. You couldn't do daycare. Oh wait, do you teach? Are you a teacher? They're too cute, but only when they listen. They have tons of toys. Oh. I remember like for a small portion of my life, I went to daycare and I remember I just hated it because like I was so attached to my parents that I did not want to be away from them for any point in time. And like I was old enough to like be able to like perceive that like that people were like not people I knew, you know, like strangers. I mean, I guess like even a baby could figure that out. Yeah, I like hated it. Like, I also remember like along that same accord, I was bawling my eyes out on the first day of kindergarten because like I was like so attached to my dad. I was like, wait, you're leaving? I just remember crying so much my first day of kindergarten. And I was so, I think I was like, oh man, I think I was overly attached to my parents. You're a teacher's assistant? What does that entail? Teachers, isn't that's usually like a thing only in college, right? Teacher's assistant? Is that kind of like a substitute? Like when the teacher's not there, you're just a substitute teacher? I feel like kids would like you like me. I don't know if they would like me in person. Maybe they would like my VTuber. Like maybe if you put my VTuber on the screen, I could like entertain them for a little bit. I don't know if they'd like me in person. Okay, so like I have obviously like I think a lot like everyone at some point has contemplated like becoming a teacher. Like yeah, at least like, you know, either to make the decision that it's maybe like plausible or like obviously not. So a lot of people like will work in industry, and like when they get like really old, technically when they like would retire, they'll like become a teacher. Like for example, my calculus teacher, my pre-calculus teacher in high school, he was an engineer. I think he was a mechanical engineer for like most of his like working life. And then when he turned like really old, I think like when he hit like his 60s, he became like a pre-cal teacher. Obviously like being a teacher is a lot less physically demanding. I mean, I could see, if I were to do that, it would only be for fun. Like I wouldn't actually be doing it for the money, right? You would hope by then you have enough money to live off of anyway. It would just be for fun for the most part. Because I'm a software engineer, so if I wanted to just keep making money, I can like just, you know, keep software engineering until my brain gives out. I work with high school kids, but I still have to make myself sound more joyful, friendly. Otherwise, I would sound too depressed. I mean, I think that's part of like sounding professional, you know. I think I get what you mean. I do the same thing with like, with my coworkers. And it's kind of like what you would like to expect to hear when you go get like fast food. Like you would like the people to address you in a joyful manner. Like that's how I view like any kind of, you know, customer-ish facing job, that you should, even if you're not actually like happy, give off the impression that you're happy, because like, I mean, you definitely don't want to give off the impression that the person you're talking to is annoying you. That is like a huge turn off. Okay, anyways, no, like a paraprofessional help kids one-on-one. Oh, I see, I see. Sped classes? Oh, special. Okay, now that makes sense. Okay, that makes a whole lot more sense. Special ed classes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was saying like I thought it was like so strange. Like, who needs a teacher's assistant? But no, that makes a lot more sense. Like when I think back to my like the special ed classes when I was in school, yeah, they usually had at least two people. Mm-hmm. I think for me, if I was hypothetically to be a teacher, I I I would either teach like basic. I would probably teach like algebra 1, maybe 2, or I would teach like history classes. And then I don't know. I guess I would. Mm, would I rather teach elementary school, middle school, or high school? Um, my first thought was like I'd rather teach high school students, because like obviously out of those sets, they're gonna be the most mature and the most like, cognitively developed. But the only downside is when you get to high school, you know, the a bad kid in high school is a lot worse than a bad kid in elementary school, right? Like, what it means to be bad in high school is like you could be like, I don't know, like doing drugs or something, or like actually beating people up. Like, it's a lot more problematic when you have a disruptive child in high school than in like the other two. And I think you can also make an argument like maybe like, the younger they are, the more they're willing to listen to you. Like, like I think like um I think like maybe no, you're fine, you're fine. I've seen much longer messages. um I I probably wouldn't like what's the like sweet spot of ages where you think like children are the most rebellious, like, and the least likely to listen to authority? That's probably high school, right? That's probably like around the time you're like 14, 15, 16. Middle school? Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I guess I can see that. I think like in elementary school, you're too naive to you're kind of too naive to know to not listen. And then in high school, it's the opposite. You've kind of matured. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. I prefer special ed because I have the personality for it. I've seen adults react inappropriately to any of the children who are so early in their learning path. No, I really like applaud you, because obviously it does, like, it's gonna take obviously a lot more patience to work with someone with special needs than like a regular developed child. Mm-hmm. Middle school is really well. Okay, so like, I assume you work in like the public school system where you live. Um, so for context, guys, I didn't grow up like in a really bad city like Detroit or Chicago, but it was still kind of bad. Like, in the city I grew up in, there was a very obvious wealth divide. Um, so basically, like, in the city I lived in, like, I would say probably at least 90% of like the low income kids went to like the public schools. And now this is something that like a lot of people like are kind of like like scratch their heads when I tell them this. My city had this concept of like magnet schools, which was, in layman's terms, supposed to be the schools for the smart kids. Really, it was just school for kids that were like not that actually like cared about their classes and their grades. Like it wasn't more like that they were more like intelligent than the kids in the public schools. It was just like a lot of the kids in the public schools like were raised in a culture of not caring about school. Um, Anyways, so to get into the magnet schools, you had to apply and do like an application process, and then that's how you got in. So if you went to like a public school, like I mean they're both technically public schools. If you went to a public non-magnet school, the quality of your education was significantly worse than like the magnet schools. One, because like it's like the kids in general are like a lot more disruptive, and then two, like the quality of the teachers themselves. Um, now where was I going with that point? Oh yeah, so like that like I bring that up because like I don't think, well, it would depend on like if you went to one of those quote unquote public schools, you'd have a lot more issues with the children than if you went to one of those quote unquote magnet schools in my city. Okay, sorry. You have to have maturity and control. You've had your face busted twice this week. Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you for the follow, Monty Lolly. Wait, that's insane. People get a lawsuit for inappropriate grabbing. Well, how does what is like the legal stance on that? Like if a kid, I mean I'm sure there's still repercussions if they like assault you, right? Like but I guess like I assume it's a bit more lax obviously if a kid hits you, and then even more so if they're special ed, right? I assume they stretch out for resources in public schools. I dipped into $100 for class this year. You have to react appropriately. No, I get that. I'm just like wondering like if you wanted to, would you have like legal recourse? I'm not saying that you should. That like you're in the moral like that would be like that you'd be morally okay to do that, but like from a legal standpoint, like how does that play out? Mm-hmm. Oh no, I okay. This is something I can so relate to. Like I dipped into hundreds of my own dollars for classes here. Like I kind of took it for granted, like that. So in all the schools I went to up until college, right? All the teachers would kind of give you like a syllabus on day one. Like on day one, you didn't have to do any work. They'd give you a syllabus, and it was like it would typically list out like the supplies that you would need, and the supplies the teacher would like you to give to them, for the year. And like obviously the teachers ask for pencils and paper and blah 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 blah. So like as as we all know, you kind of have like at the beginning of the school year, you get this like, a whole big thing to like buy all your school supplies. One of the saddest things is when you go to these schools that are like that like, have a lot of low income children. Obviously they can't afford school supplies, so like they don't have paper and they don't have pencils, and it's like so sad. Like and like something like that I really appreciate is that you will see teachers go out of their way, like a lot of teachers will do that, probably almost most of them will go out of their way to spend their own money to just like gift these kids like basic like paper and pencils and stuff like that. um okay, something that's like super popular for teachers to do, right, is like, and like this is completely unnecessary, a lot of teachers like to like buy prizes for the kids, like maybe like a chips or something. Like I think it's like really sweet because I think especially like I think a lot of, I don't know, a lot of female teachers tend to be like very motherly. I do think, like I genuinely think a lot of female teachers treat their students as if they were their own kids, which is like super cool to see. It extends to clothes too. I bought shoes and clothes for several kids. Oh my goodness. Sounds like you're like in one of the like really bad school districts. Mm-hmm. Something that like I really respected in the school when I went to for ninth grade, all my teachers were kind of sucky except my algebra teacher. Like he was actually like a really good teacher, and you could tell that like he was like leagues above all the other teachers in terms of his like competency at teaching. Um, and so I asked him one day, like, I imagine it's not very fun, when like a lot of the kids aren't really trying. Like, why don't you go, work at a school where you would be more appreciated more by the students? And his answer to me was like that it to him it's more about like going to the places that need the most help. So like he wanted to work in like a school that like had I guess a bad background, because in his mind that's where he should be. And I really respected him for that. It's not even a bad district. Sped is just hard. Some students have a lot of medical needs, and these noses are expensive. I see. I wonder also on that topic, like I wonder, I can't, I obviously I can't really talk too much about it. Like I can't tell you guys. Well, I can probably tell you, but like I can't tell you obviously the state I live in, but it's so bad in my state. Okay, so usually, and I assume this is the like how it works in most states. If you're like if your parents are low income, you can fill out a form, right? And then like if it's determined you're low income, the school will give you free lunch every day, right? You get free lunch. I imagine, most, if not all states have some kind of program like that. In my state, like there was like such a huge population of like poor kids, but not only that, like their parents were like, or either like the parents or the kids themselves, they wouldn't put forth the effort to fill the form out to get free food for the entire year. So like my state, because of that, they just decided to just flat out give everyone free lunch for like, I don't know if they still do it, but when I was in school there, like I think from like starting from like, I don't know, like I want to say like my freshman year in school, that's when they first did it. They just started giving everyone in the entire state free lunch. You live in the South? Oh, I mean, I imagine like that makes it even worse in general. Like generally speaking, I don't think, I don't want to like super generalize, but like, generally speaking, the South, is a bit worse on average for like any kind of like public service. And I'll leave it at that. Education obviously being one of them. Who texted me just now? I'm sorry if you guys heard that. What the heck? Yeah, something that I thought was really, hold on, let me put my phone on do not disturb. Come on. Okay, there we go. Okay, another thing, like, so if the rich family, not the rich family, I shouldn't even use that word, like I guess the more like well-off families in my city, if they couldn't get their kids into the magnet schools, they would send them to private school. No, it was my friend. Hello, Jump. I'm doing good. Today's been like a really relaxed day, honestly. I've been having I probably could have been more productive, but like I kind of, it's the day, for me, it's the day before the weekend because I don't work on Friday. So, I think we all take it a little bit easier on the very last day before the weekend, right? Mm-hmm. That's good. Glad I picked up from yesterday. Yeah. Yeah, yesterday kind of sucked. But yeah, I think, honestly, I probably, like, I think I probably have higher expectations and standards for myself than my manager. But that's a good thing, right? Like if my manager knows I'm mature enough to self-manage, he'll like trust in me, and he'll leave me alone. Yeah. But make sure you're doing great. Yeah. Well, it's like I said before. It's just kind of like I think it's important for everyone, regardless of how much you make, to like take pride in your work. You want to like. I think it's very people like being known as a hard worker is an incredibly like good thing, right? Because there's so many people that aren't that. Obviously, it helps if you genuinely like find meaning in your work. Like I imagine you people that work in education probably find your work like a lot more meaningful than me, who works in tech. But it is what it is. Yeah, no, my city was like so bad. Like like I said, all the like the a lot of like the kids that like were not broke, their parents would send them to Catholic school, private Catholic school. I really wished we lived in a society that like you would not even need to send your children to like private school. Like having to pay, I can't imagine having to pay my child's tuition and they're not even in college yet. But some cities are just really that bad that like it probably is worth it to do it. You're gonna sneak off to watch an anime. Okay, thanks for hanging out, Zoo. See ya later. I don't know. I think I would like to. I've always liked teaching people because I think like I'm really good at explaining things. But I don't know if like the very like as a teacher, like obviously being able to be sociable and like be able to respond appropriately with the students is arguably more important than your skill as a teacher. And so is like what really would prevent me from like jumping into it. This is a complete aside, guys, but like a couple years ago, like I was bored, so I was looking for like extra ways to make money. Like I was looking for a side gig, and one of the things that you can do that like is not terrible. Yeah, glowy eyes. Hi, yes. We're talking about education. So one of the things you can do like that, you can work from home technically, that's not like terrible pay. It's not the worst pay, and you do get to work from home. So that's a major benefit. Is you can you can tutor online. I think for most of those like websites that hire independent contracting tutors, you need to have a college degree of some kind. Like it really doesn't matter. Typically, they don't care. But usually, what you do is you apply, and you have to have a college degree, and then if you get in, you have to like take a test for each subject you're interested in teaching. And if you pass, obviously you can like teach it. So I applied and got in to teach programming, like basic level programming, at one of these like tutoring sites. And like programming, relatively speaking, is like obviously, as you might think, one of the more like high paying things to tutor. So I only did one session. Like it was with a lady that was much older than me, and so I was teaching her how to like do like basic programming, and it was obvious to me like that even like when we were, because basically she needed help with homework, right? And it was obvious to me immediately that she had no idea what she was doing. Like she had either like cheated her way to where she was at that point, or her teachers were like extremely lenient, or they just straight up told her what to do. But like I could tell in that moment that like she like needed to like go back a few years to like catch up to where she should be in that moment, because like there was like basic things that I could tell that the assignment assumed you knew how to do that she did not know how to do. Like she did not know how to do literally anything. And like, what do you do when you're in that situation? Like when like I'll give you an example. So what do you do if like, for example, you're a pre-calculus teacher and somehow you have a student in there and they don't even know how to do algebra? How do you even approach that situation? It's like it's a bit more different for like it's a bit more different for like traditional school teachers, because like they have to they can like kind of make the argument that they can just prioritize the class as a whole. And I assume like at least the schools I went to, the teachers would stay after and like do tutoring. Like you can do after school tutoring if you needed help. But like in that case, like when the person is like many years behind, like, here's the problem, right? Here's the problem from the teacher's perspective. Like, you there's like what you would do, right? The responsible thing to do would to be to take a step back and to help them, help them learn, from the beginning, like where start from whatever base they have. But the problem is that like that's not going to help them do their homework that's 4 years ahead of them. But what they care most about is obviously finishing the homework for the good grade. So like basically, if I didn't, if I didn't sit there, and I'm ashamed to have said this, like if I didn't sit there and just spoon feed her what to do, I know she would give me a bad rating. And it's like, what do you even do? Like, if I didn't just straight up spoon feed her the answer, she was gonna make the claim that I was a bad teacher. When in the first place, she put me in an impossible position. So like that is, well, that's uniquely like a private industry thing, I guess. You probably wouldn't really have that issue in public schooling. Well, yeah, that's like that one session left such a bad taste in my mouth that I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this again. I think for like that 30-minute session, they sent me a check in the mail for like $4. And I quit. I don't know. Okay, now I kind of like I kind of want to shift the conversation from education to like all like the like I was super broke as a college student, so I was like looking for like all like, and obviously I didn't like really want to leave my home or my dorm, so I was looking for like ways to make money online. I'm sure we've all like tried to like look for ways to make money online, right? For a while I was doing transcription. Never do transcription. The only people that should be doing transcription are the people where like they live in like extremely cheap countries. I was like, so transcription for those of you that don't know is you just listen to like audio and you write out what you hear. Like you write out a script of what you hear. You're basically making subtitles for the videos. And apparently that's something that's like extremely hard for software to do even today. But anyways, I would work to the bone. Like there were days I would work from like the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed doing this thing. And I was making like, I think I was making maybe $5 an hour. Like, to me as a broke college student, that was a lot of money. But like in hindsight, I realized that like even as a broke college student, it wasn't worth it. It was not worth my time. I've also never done this, but like kind of related to teaching and tutoring, there are like programs where you, I guess it's technically you're trying to teach English, but like you get paid just to like talk to like foreign students or sometimes even adults. So, if anyone is looking for like work from home gigs, I would definitely look into like, tutoring of some kind. Like I said before, typically those websites require you to have a degree because they want you to be educated in some way. Yeah, in my state, you could drop out when you were 16. Like I think, let me double check. Or was it 17? Oh, it's 17, never mind. And you have to do an exit interview. Okay. Oh, I guess they can't stop you from doing it. I guess it's more to just like understand why you're deciding to stop school. I don't know. Like, really, is there ever? I guess I shouldn't say there's never say never. I shouldn't say that there's like never a valid reason to drop out of like high school. Because I'm like I in my school I knew girls that were pregnant. So like, like for that, I can obviously understand wanting to drop out of school, to take care of your child. mm, mm, yeah, and then fortunately though, like, how should I say this? The problem with like a bad school system is unless the child is like, in my opinion, like what you might consider to be gifted, like they're like unless the child knows how to think for themselves, which is not something I think is like taught. Like the American school system really enforces blind obedience, which is like not good. Like you're basically expected to just take the word of the teacher as gospel, and you're hoping the teacher is like a good teacher and they know what they're talking about. But obviously, in many cases, that's not the case, and like it's extremely taboo to like tell the teacher like I think you're wrong. So like yeah, most kids understandably are gonna just trust the teacher. And I bring that up because I knew a lot of a lot of my classmates in college were like extremely hardworking individuals, like very prompt, very reliable. They would like do their best effort. I knew at least like two or three people like that, but like our professors were so bad, and our guidance counselors were so bad that like they were like, I don't know, I could tell they were like really those professors weren't doing them justice. And like a lot of those people that like I know are very hardworking, like they're struggling to find jobs because like our professors like were not like teaching us the skills that we probably would have learned at like a better college. um yeah, so like in some sense you like obviously I had the same professors, but like I kind of for better or for worse, I kind of like learned to I kind of built like a distrust for authority like very early in my childhood, for better or for worse. Yeah, so it's like here, take this in from believing now without question or practice. Yeah, I mean that's like 99% of like American schools, probably even like Western schools. Like you're not really ever like I'm like actually when I really think about it, I don't think a single one of my teachers, okay, maybe not a single one of them, but like I can maybe count on one hand, like maybe one or two teachers actually like kind of told the kids like you should not just blindly accept what people tell you. You should do your own research. Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, if I think like has a teacher outside of college ever told me you should do your own research? No, probably not. Well, the other thing is like a lot of the teachers don't like they don't respect their students intellectually, right? I think that's like a huge difference between like especially public school and college. Like in college you're treated like an adult, but like a lot of teachers will just assume their students are like incapable of critical thinking and like need to be like babied or like basically patronized. I guess like the one of the challenges also from like a teaching standpoint is you kind of you don't want to like remember what I said earlier was that to me it makes the most sense to like if there's someone that's wildly behind, that just sucks. Like life is that's unfortunate. You should probably just do whatever you can to like I don't want to use the word appeal, like to have the greatest effect. Oh, thank you for the head pat. To have like the greatest effect on the most amount of students. So like if just because one child is behind, you shouldn't stop the class to like help them. Rather than like teaching the current material to the rest of the class, right? But actually, a lot of times like it's kind of like the no child left behind kind of mentality. Like oftentimes like at least like the schools I went to, and I went to like mostly public schools, the work is brain dead easy if you just like put a little effort forth. And the reason why like the work is easy and the standards are so low, right, is because they have to and I don't mean for this to sound like harsh or anything, but they have to accommodate the lowest common denominator in the class. So like it's a lot better. It's you know, they're gonna prefer making their assignments easier. Like, you know, they're gonna prefer them being like too easy than too hard, right? Because also at the end of the day, like, oh god, I could talk about this for so long. There's something like it's even like a more of a systematic issue, right? Like going back to my discussion about the tutoring thing, like oftentimes, like, you know, the most readily available metric for a teacher. Thank you for the follow, Forge. The most readily available metric for a teacher is like their average grades of their students, right? Like most people are going to assume if like if your students are doing bad, if your students are doing bad, the first thing they're going to assume is that it's the teacher's fault, not the children's fault. And so like they're kind of incentivized to like, you know, make their assignments easy. Thank you for the head, that they're kind of incentivized to make their assignments easy, to like skew their metrics. And at the end of the day, that's just actually doing the kids a disservice, you know? That's where like accelerated or advanced placement classes are nice. I kind of wish like when you're a kid, or I guess like a high school student, you kind of just take at least I like how I saw it. So you kind of just take as many AP classes as you can. But like I wish they kind of like told you ahead of time, like a couple of the AP classes that I took ended up being worthless. Like they didn't transfer over to college credit. So like I wish they kind of like told you more about that before you signed up. Like they should tell you that you need to go like look at the degree requirements of your major ahead of time and check if the like that class is transferable for that like degree program. But anyways, and like that's a systematic issue. The thing I just described is a systematic issue, right? Because like, you know, that scales to like a city, and that scales to like a state. Because like if the city and the state don't show that the kids are performing well enough to like lose federal funding. Oh, you put the toggle. Wait, let me get myself. Yeah, look, they'll like lose federal funding, right? So like cooking the books by making your class easy is a really systematic issue. I mean, I think public schools need to like not be afraid to fail kids. Like it's almost it's so taboo for a teacher to fail a kid, because like I said, no one's ever gonna say that it was the child's fault, because that sounds so incredibly harsh. But oftentimes it is. So like oh God, like teachers are so often like incentivized to like turn a blind eye and push a kid through the system that they know is obviously not ready for the next level. That's like a whole different topic, but the system is and like that's what's so great about, like, you know, if you go to like, for example, like, you know, Harvard, the teachers aren't gonna pull their punches. Like they're gonna teach you how they think is like no, they're gonna give you what they think is the best education. So like a big part of like the Ivy League schools giving you a good education is because there's already a culture in place that it's hard to begin with. So the teachers don't have to feel like they have to dumb down their classes. They're gonna like genuinely teach you what they think is a quality education, which may objectively just be very hard. I get curious what that little plushie is. Like, I was curious what the little plushie was. Oh, I mean, I've used it on some streams, like probably a couple. Teachers get put down a lot for the behavior of their students, Sally. Yeah, that's a shame. You know, really, I don't know. I do think, like a common talking point, and I don't want to get too political, but a common talking point people like to use. Okay, well, first let me frame it like this: like a lot of people will like make this really, in my opinion, really like disrespectful and like ignorant like comparison. They'll be like, well, LeBron James gets paid millions of dollars and he just plays basketball, but I'm a teacher and I teach students and I only get paid $50,000 a year. You know, why am I not getting paid more? Like, isn't my impact on society greater? And like the answer is no, it's not. like you know, like it's greater, I guess, in like the way you view it, but like if you kind of look at it objectively, like LeBron James provides entertainment to like thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people. Like his net gain on society in that way is a lot. Like he creates way more value for society than a teacher ever possibly could. You know, that sounds kind of like, you know, like at a base level, I know that sounds like kind of harsh, but like that's the truth, right? So like it really just bothers me when people use that as a talking point, and I just think it's disrespectful to like the athletes or whoever have you. Like at the end of the day, you know, whether you like it or not, the like, you know, the how much you are paid or how much you make is directly correlated to the value you're providing someone else. So like, and like, but also like supply and demand, right? Like not you know, only a few select people in the world can be professional basketball players, but like, you know, the pool of people that can become teachers is like much wider. Also considering like to become a teacher, all you need to do is like have a degree in literally anything and pass a test. And again, I'm not trying to discredit, like, you know, teaching is an extremely noble profession, like we could like I talked about earlier, but like I just don't like that argument. You know, like you should not like ever argue that you should make more because you deserve it more than someone else. That just comes across as disrespectful. But I'm also of the opinion that, like, I mean, I guess it kind of depends on how much you care about money versus like helping society. But like, if you were really concerned about money, you know, you could go into the private sector. Like that, you can say about anything, you know, like teaching, you know, law, investigating, like military. The private sector of any profession, compared to the government sector, is obviously gonna like almost always pay more, right? Because when you go from like the private or the government sector to the private sector, it becomes more of a question of merit. Like, you know, they're not gonna hire you if you're a shitty teacher. At the, you know, the private school won't hire you if they think you're shitty. But like, it's a lot easier to get a job in the public school by comparison, right? So, sorry, I don't know why I was rambling about that. A lot of people just make this claim that they should make more, which I'm not debating, but like they always use this value proposition that like, you know, I'm doing more for people, so I should be paid more than X, Y, and Z does, because, you know, and really it's really, what it really is in there, it's more like their opinion, you know, that like the other person doesn't do a lot compared to them. But also, like, you know, like if at some point you have to, like, you know, you have to be able to like get what you're worth. Like, I generally think that, you know, most people, they're getting paid what they're worth. Like, you know, if you're upset, if you're not happy with what you make, then, you know, do the proactive thing and go look for another job that pays you more. And if you have the skills that correlate to a higher pay, then you should be able to get it, right? I guess that's a bit more challenging for people that work in the public sector, because that might mean like you have to like, you might consider like moving to a different school system or whatever, what have you, just to get paid more, which does kind of suck. Oh God. rambling about like the most like unrelated thing. What does this have to do with me? I think the city I live in is okay. Um, I would also like hesitate to like, I don't know. I wouldn't want my child to have like a bad education, but like I also wouldn't want my child to grow up snobby. Like I if I sent my child to like a private school that I paid for, I would really need to instill in them like good values. Like I'd be telling them like, listen, like I'm sending you to a private school, and it's really an extreme privilege. You're not like morally better than anyone that goes to like a public school. You're not smarter than them. You're not blah blah blah. You're not like you're not better than them in any way. You're just like lucky that I was your dad and I wanted to send you to private school. You know. I do think there's something to be said about like building character in that way. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, the kids that I went to school with were like they literally labeled all the public school kids like when we were in middle school. Like, I was mature enough to even like recognize this at the time. All of my classmates at the magnet school like had this idea that the public schools are where the bad kids went to school. And they just like generalize like every single one of the kids in the school. Like, oh, those are where the bad kids go to school. Like, I don't want my child thinking stuff like that if I send them to like private school. Or if not that I would do that, but if I were to, like I don't know. But that being said, I've only ever met like one actually snobby rich kid in my life. I think that cliche is kind of overblown. Oh man, I am yapping like crazy. Okay, I'm probably gonna stream for, well, let's see, maybe like at least another 30 minutes to an hour. Another 30 minutes to an hour. We'll see. It depends on how much gas is left in the tank. Um. Hold on, I'm like leaving messages in my Oompies chats, even though like I have their streams muted. Okay, done. I hope they don't like ask me like how am I or something, because I'm not gonna be able to respond to them. Okay, where were we? Oh yeah. Education. I'd be curious to know if like I would, I don't know anything about European education, but I would like bet money that most European education systems are probably better than American education systems. I think hello Luxie, hello. I think we don't want to like, something that also kind of bothers me from like school is like, thank you for the follow. Morning, it's morning for you? Oh my, are you European by chance? Something that I really dislike is like the stereotype that like Asian schools, like schools in Asia, are like better than schools in America. I think like we can all agree they're probably harder. That doesn't mean they're better. Right? There's these schools in China where the kids go to school at 9 a.m. and they get home at 9 p.m. That's like crazy. That's not healthy. That doesn't mean their education system is better, right? I don't know. I kind of have qualms with Asian, like a lot of Asian culture in general. Like that thing I said about like, how in like the Prussian education system, obedience is like really valued, to a fault, because you're not taught to think, independently. That's even like doubly, triply so in Asian culture. You're just expected to like be extremely obedient, don't question the teacher, And yeah, I remember like the Korean kids I went to school with, they would go to like our regular school Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday they would go to Korean school, where like they would learn stuff, but it'd be completely in Korean, and I thought that was insane. I would I would definitely would probably say, on average, that the average Asian student is almost certainly likely more educated than the average American student, but that's not looking at the whole picture. Like there's more to it than that. Like the the Asian student is probably more like educated than the American student at the literal cost of their childhood. And that's also to say, I feel like Asia has like an over. It almost sounds like unreasonable to say, but like everything can be too much in moderate or too much, right? Like there are extremes for everything. I almost think that Asian culture in general has like an unhealthy over glorification with education. Anyway, sorry. My BF is from the UK. I can second that statement is a bit better. Are you from the US, Jump? Long is it long distance? Sorry, you don't have to answer that. It just seems like pretty difficult to do cross country relationship. You never went to a school? Were you homeschooled? I mean, I can also understand that. Like, if I was in a really bad school district and I couldn't afford to send my kids to private school, I can understand homeschooling them. Like, obviously, the massive like con to that is that they're not going to learn social skills as well as if they were around a bunch of kids. I would say the country environment reflects a lot of how kids think. American kids would do horrible regardless of the country. Why do you say that? What about that? I think America has the widest. I would say America probably is the most diverse in opinion, which I think honestly is preferable. I think it's a good thing that like it's like I prefer like individualism over like communal values. Like I prefer, it's like that's like I really prefer Western values over Eastern values, and that's just me. I think a society as a whole, like like it's almost kind of unintuitive, right? But I think society as a whole ends up growing better if everyone, it strives to be like independent and individual. Because it becomes like, how do I put this? Like the country, the society grows naturally because of like competition between people. Like I would make the argument that like I think it's inherently more healthy than like a more like communal based value set. I don't know. I'm not like I just like that's just what I think would happen. I've never actually studied these kinds of things. It's not like I know anything about like like systematic issues. American kids are self-sabotage, European kids are neutral, and Asian kids are under strict environment. Self-sabotage. Yeah, I think you'd have to elaborate on that. Yeah, but I think also a big part of that is just that like on average, like like obviously we all know that European countries tend to take better care of their lower income citizens. So you kind of have to also like take that into account. Like I think a lot of American students will be disruptive. I agree with that, but not necessarily like through fault of their own. It's kind of just like they're a product of their environment. Because they self-sabotage themselves. I agree with that. I do agree with that. I wouldn't say most. I don't know if I would go with that. I don't know the numbers, but I don't know if I would say most American kids don't succeed in school. I think most American kids are well, I guess it kind of depends how you define success. If you define success as being able to graduate, then obviously most kids do that. Now, but if you feel if you define success more strictly, that most kids become academics, then obviously that's not true. But the reality of the situation, kind of how we say college isn't for everyone. By the same accord, you can say that about mandatory education too. At some point, some people are just more academically inclined than others, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of American kids can excel. It just depends on how they were raised and culture they're around and their own morals in terms of education. Yeah, I agree with that. In the generally speaking, in the the poorer cities, there's almost because everyone a lot of people are so behind, it almost becomes taboo to be successful in school. If all your peers are disruptive and hate school, and you're the one kid that actually doesn't mind school and you do well, they might bully you because you're the odd one out, even though technically speaking, that happens a lot. That's the old cliche. Why do a lot of bullies pick on nerds? But if you want to make it generic, it's oftentimes because the nerds make them insecure about themselves, or they want to that's basically it, right? That's self-sabotage, yeah. But again, I think I just want to be very clear that we don't want to you want to give kids a lot of benefit of the doubt. I think especially when you're a child, you're more of a product of your environment than anything else. I think kids that are born into a healthy home, will probably go to school with healthy education values. And so going back to what you said, the reality of the situation is that a lot of kids in America just don't come from healthy homes. And so that's why they are super disruptive in school and don't care. Sippy. Yum, yummers. You were homeschooled, so you can't say much. Well, my perspective is also a bit skewed because I said, I did grow up in one of the more poor cities in America, so I could kind of see it firsthand. But yeah, that's to say, like I said, America. I don't know if I would go as far as to say America has a wealth distribution problem. I don't want to get too political about it, but certainly relative to European countries, for better or for worse, they distribute wealth a lot more evenly. I don't really want to, have a conversation about what's the better system for society. Born with immunodeficiency, so you're isolated, and oh my gosh. And so you couldn't you'd be at risk, basically. Is that what you're saying? You'd be at risk interacting with other kids. They'd give you bad germs or something. To basically summarize, they'd give you cooties. Let me close these out. Loneliness and boredom are a big pain to deal with. Are you an only child? And I assume you still have the immunodeficiency, so you still really can't interact with people as much as you would like? Question mark? That sucks. Thank God for the internet. At least with the internet, you can, obviously online interactions can never replace in-person interactions, but it's better than nothing. you lost your parents since little. A little bit. My older sister, you're giving me like, Mom, oh my goodness, you've had a tragic life. I'm sorry to hear that. You had a tragic life. Well, I'm glad you made it this far. I'm glad you're here with us now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And going back to what I said earlier, like another, like going like so, like it's a lot of times I do think like if you're born into like if you're born in like lower class, you're rescued from parents. Oh, I see. If you're born lower class in America, it's still not terrible, right? Like America does have social nets in place. Like there's food stamps, there's like social security, there's like there are many systems in place to help like low income families. So I think it's like that's to say that like I think it's infinitely more important that a child is born into like a stable home than necessarily a rich one, because like I genuinely like I know plenty of families where like they were like quote unquote poor, but the parents put forth their best effort and and they were able to like their kid turned out fine. Like they gave their child the best they could, and they were educated enough to like seek out what resources were available to them, basically. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We might, I don't know. Well, it's almost an hour and a half. We might end stream, maybe. How are we feeling? How's the room feeling? I'm gonna hop off for that, but I hope you have a lovely stream at night. Take care of yourself. I hope you want you to too. Okay. You too, Jump. Have a great July 4th weekend. Eat mini hot dogs and burgers and apple pie. And I don't know, whatever else we Americans do. Shoot some guns. Mm-hmm. I'm scrolling. We're scrolling. Oh, what is this? I got a comment on one of my. I got a comment on one of my. I post the ASMR VODs every day, and like I said before, I'm genuinely surprised people have been watching them. Okay, anyways. Happy 4th of July, yeah! I mean, I think it's understandable that like ASMR is such a popular category. Like a lot of people don't want to do it, like relatively speaking, ASMR, like gaming is much more saturated than ASMR, but also like ASMR is a lot more like universally, I guess, transferable. So what I mean by that is like a lot of viewers of your stream, they probably don't care. They probably care the most that you interact with them than the game you're playing. And when you do ASMR, like your attention is like you can have you can be much more interactive with your chat when you're doing ASMR, because like your entire focus for the most part is on your chat, as opposed to like video games. So like yeah, like that, it makes sense that it's like really popular, I guess. But also like tons of people will just watch you because they like the sound of your voice and nothing else. I don't know how to feel about that. Delicious water. Wait, is this weird, guys? People look at me like a freak when they find out that I drink plain tap water. I literally drink water straight out the tap. No joke. And to me, that's a very normal thing. So I don't even know why I say no joke. Like, but like I know a lot of people that like, okay, so they either put a filter, like they filter their tap water, or they only will drink bottled water. To me, that seems kind of like just being overly paranoid. You know, I would like to think the vast majority of American cities, the water is safe to drink, and like, drinking bottled water isn't gonna be like significantly or even like marginally better than just drinking tap water. Like, maybe people have this like opinion that like there's heavy metals in the tap water and they'll give you cancer or something. Pretty white bread, what? I am a little bit darker today. I don't know if you guys noticed. My lighting is a bit more blended today. Again, thank you to Yena for showing me how to do that. Because I always thought like I was contrasting way too much. I mean it's basic to drink tap water? Really? Maybe my friends are just are really snobby then, because like a lot of my friends like they'll like whenever they'll come to my place, right? A lot of my friends will come to my place and they'll be like, "Do you have any water?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'll be like, "Yeah, I have tap water," and they're like, "Oh, never mind." And it's like, okay, like it's like, what? You're too good for tap water? One second, I need to do this real quick. Oh, thank you for the love, Calypsy. I'll have to check your stream out sometime. How often do you stream, and for how long? Do you have a schedule? I'll pay you back one of these days. I'll go to your stream and yap with you, keep you company. I used to do a schedule, but then it started feeling like a job, so I dropped it. Ironically. I'm actually streaming more than I ever have in a long time. You like 4 a.m.? 4 a.m. EST. Oh my god. You look. Is your sleep schedule like? Oh my god. Why is your sleep schedule like so crazy? That's insane. That is ridiculous. No. I don't know. Maybe. Oh god, I get so self-conscious, guys. I get so self-conscious that I'm not talking softly or quietly enough, and it's not ASMR. Pizza Hut trained you to have it late like that? What do you mean? Don't most pizza stores close at like 1 a.m. at the latest? Oh wait, that's a good point. Like, what do teachers do over the summer? They just have to find like another job over the summer? Like that's like one of the major downsides of being a teacher. You're just out of work over the breaks. Hi Lilico. Hi. Hello. No, you're the cutie. Only have to wake up one half if you don't go till like 4 or 5. Oh, I see. I kind of wanted to like. Okay, so I have attempted many ventures in my life, but like I didn't really go far with them. One of them was I wanted to, for a brief stint in college, I wanted to be a pizza delivery driver. But I was really like enamored with it, and then like kind of like literally before I even started, I came to my senses. I was like, wait, this is probably not worth it. Considering like I live in a poor city and it's like actually kind of dangerous, but then the wear and tear on your car, like I'd be probably making less than minimum wage. And that's not considering the flight risk of living in a bad city. How was my day? My day was pretty good actually. It was pretty relaxing. So I woke up. Well, I didn't get as much sleep last night as I should have, but for somehow my body, like, I didn't feel like it. My cousin visited me early today, and he like bought some stuff for me, and then yeah, he bought some stuff with me. Then we went and we got some pho at the Vietnamese place, and then my work was like really chill today. I probably could have been more productive, but like it's the end of like the week, so you know I'm not too worried about that. I feel like I have got a lot done in general. And then yeah, and my workout was good. Um, the office lady at the front desk forgot to like send me a code to go in the mailroom and get my mail. That kind of sucks because like I get so much mail because of my side business that even one day, like having one day's extra worth of mail makes things like very difficult. Like one day's worth of mail takes me at least 30 minutes to go through. So like you can just multiply that, right? 2 days worth of mail is probably like an hour. Like this Monday is gonna be terrible. I might spend like 2 hours opening mail. How was your day? Sorry to yap about myself. mm, Wait, look, do you do ASMR? You do just chatting? You do ASMR? Okay. Okay, I'm kind of stalking a VOD real quick. Are you into Pokemon cards perchance? You like me yapping though? Okay, I'm glad some people like it. I know it's really easy to like get in your head, as you guys would know as a streamer. Like above all else, you should make sure you're having fun and you're being yourself. But it's really easy to get in your head and like, really easy to get in your head about like trying to change yourself, like to appeal to more people. What'd you say? Oh, I was asking you, or Lilico, are you into Pokemon cards? Perchance? Everything I do is perfect. Oh, okay, so like, this is, I'm gonna do a little bit of trauma dumping, right, guys? So, to give you context, my family, I don't talk to my immediate family anymore because like they're really toxic. But like basically like in my like extended family, there's a culture of like of how do I put this? There's a culture of like family loyalty to a fault. So the reason why I stopped talking to my family is because they kept asking me for things over and over and over, and I never, like, I would very rarely, if ever, ask them for things. So it's like it basically felt like they were taking advantage of me, right? But they were like always would use the excuse, "Oh, we're family, so it's okay," like that's the justification. Anyways, so my cousin, so I get a lot of Pokemon memorabilia, right, as part of like my business. I kind of have like a flipping resale business, right? And I get things like at a discounted rate. Basically, my cousin, he was making the argument that okay, so I I gave him a discount. I told him he can have like he would pay 70% of the market price of anything he bought from me. So I'm already giving him a 30% discount, and like his argument to me was that because some of the things I get are free, because I get them for free and it doesn't cost me anything when I get them, that and he's my family, I should sell it to him at MSRP, like basically what you would get it if it was in stock at a store. And I was like, what? Like, aren't you taking advantage of me? Like, What does it matter how I got it? And I'm already giving you like an extremely like I'm giving you a 30% discount. Like that's already extremely generous. Like I hate that so much. I hate that so much, guys. That's such a pet peeve of mine. When you're like, when you try to help someone out and they're so selfish that they ask you for more. It's like giving a homeless guy $5 and he asks you for 10. Like, what? I hate that. I hate that. It's so selfish and inconsiderate. Thank you for the follow, Ninx. I'm sorry that you stepped in at a very inopportune moment in my life. Hi, Caustic. No, if anything, you should be the one giving me $15, Mr. Businessman. You with all your bakeries, your bakery empire. How's that been, by the way? Hope work's been good. Hope you've been getting good business. The people have always needed bread since the beginning of time, so I can't imagine you'll ever run out of business, you know? Literally, bakers are one of the oldest professions ever in the history of mankind. You're in break? Oh, I see. Nice. That's good. That's good. I feel like you always tell me about how like you're working insane hours, so it's good that you take breaks. But, I imagine when you own your own business, it's a lot more, it's a lot easier to, it feels a lot better to work your own, like, work longer because you feel like you're contributing to yourself. I'm glad you're firm with your boundaries. Yeah. My Pika I sent out just got graded and you can't wait till she's back home. Oh, wait, Lilico, who do you use? I'm assuming you're using one of PSA or CGC. Like, people have been, sorry, I don't mean to, like, I know this isn't, like, I'm kind of, like, gushing to Lilico, but I apologize to people who can't relate to this. Please indulge me. But for those of you that don't know, like, to give you some context, there are these companies that basically, they'll grade your trading cards based on, like, the condition of them. And there's a huge scale, and the price of them can dramatically change based off the most, like, minute things. Anyways, yeah, what grading company do you use, Lilico? I've been hearing that, like, PSA is getting extremely expensive, so people are trying to, like, stray away from them, but at the end of the day, it's still, like, the golden standard, right? Like, PSAs have the highest resale value. I don't know. They kind of have, like, a monopoly in that sense. Is it like $35 to get your card graded? Three what? Okay, and then Calypsy, like, what do you do when, like, okay, so again, there's a little bit of trauma dumping, right? But, like, to summarize, I am sorry you lost your streak. If someone is pushing your boundaries and you tell them to stop, and they keep doing it, the only reasonable thing to do at that point is to stop, like, to get them out of your life, right? Like, if someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries, the only reasonable thing to do is to cut them off, right? Like, I think we would all agree with that. Now, the problem is when those people are your family, it's a bit more convoluted, shall we say. Like, in my family circle, I have to, like, I'm not on good terms with my immediate family, and I don't, it's gonna sound terrible, but, like, I don't really respect a lot of my extended family. What will happen, right, is if I go no contact with someone, they're gonna start shit talking me to the rest of the extended family. They're gonna be like, did you know Felt blocked me? He's such an ungrateful child. And then like, so I'll give you like the analogy here is I don't talk to my dad anymore. Like, I blocked him a long time ago, right? And, like, he tells everyone. He doesn't tell them that he treats me like shit. He just tells them that I blocked them, right? And so my uncles and my aunts are coming to be like, why don't you take better care of your dad? And it's like, okay, buddy, okay. I do my dad a service. I just, like, smile, and I don't, like, tell them about all the drama, because even though he treats me like shit, I still do him the favor of helping him save face. Okay, sorry. Anyways, it's really annoying when your family is like pushing your boundaries. But I agree. Like, what you should do if other family members start pushing your boundaries on behalf of another family member, then you just cut them off too. Like, it sucks. It's not ideal, but like, you know, you're not obligated. Like, the whole thing about family, it's unconditional, right? It's like, unconditional love should not feel so conditional. Basically. Sorry, that was a bit of a rant. Like, my family. Okay, so I come from I am like an outlier in my extended family. I did really well in college. Like, I tried historically, like, most of my extended family is like lower class, and I did really well in college and I got like a really good job. So I guess like the people in my extended family like to ask me for monetary favors, shall we say, and it's almost like they feel obligated. Like, they feel it's like I'm obligated to help them because like I'm in a much better like financial situation than them. And that's kind of where that all stems from. I'm sure some people can relate. Like, I don't know. I don't. Oh God, you know what they say? Like, you either give money or you either don't give money or you do. Like, try to avoid lending money to friends and family. It's a very bad thing to do unless you seriously trust them. Mm-hmm. Oh. Oh man. Anyways, yeah, it was just like so. This morning, it was like so disrespectful, or in my opinion, it was so. Did I get rid of the voice crack award? It's. I didn't get rid of it. It's just disabled. I'm gonna be doing ASMR for the foreseeable future, so you probably won't see it anytime soon. Because I think it would be like really unpleasant to do when I'm doing an ASMR stream. What was I saying about my cousin? Oh yeah, he was like, it's like so like rude. Let me hug you wherever you are, however things have been. You've dealt with a lot right now. Here you deserve better. Oh my God, thank you. You're more than your wallet. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And like, it would be, yeah. Oh, I don't know. The problem also is like, as you guys, the people that watch me for a while would probably know this, but like, I'm not a very confrontational person. I'm not very assertive. Like, and I consider myself an empath. Like, I like to help people, I don't like to see people in pain. And my family and other people definitely like to exploit that about me. That's just so sad. Like, they know I have a hard time saying yeah or no when it comes to helping people, and they definitely like to exploit that. Yeah, no, don't, value your empathetic friends. Tell them how much you appreciate them. Like, I basically told my cousin, I was like, you don't, if you don't want, like, I was basically telling him, like, you don't have to buy them if you don't want them. Like, so like, he was making the argument that I should sell it to him for MSRP, right? And I was like, because like, I was like, I'm already giving you a 30% discount, and you don't have to buy them. And like, that's kind of like when he like shut his mouth. He's like, and then I was like, well, are you gonna buy them? He's like, yeah, because obviously he's gonna buy them because it's still a massive discount. If I was a dick, I could have been like, you know what? Never mind. I don't want you to, get out of my house. Like, get out. I don't want. I didn't do that, obviously, but I could have. You don't have to stop loving someone to not have them in your life anymore. Yeah. Like, a long time ago, I learned or I shouldn't even say a long time ago. I knew a long time ago that like, you know, you need to put yourself first. You need to like prioritize your mental health above all else. But I didn't really have the courage to do that until recently. I had known I should do that since like high school. And I encourage anyone in a similar situation to do it sooner rather than later. If you have the means to do so. It's scary at first. It's very hard to do, I agree. It's extremely hard to do. Especially like if you're in a bad family and you don't have a lot of like, you know, you're still a child, you obviously can't run away from home, or you could, but then where would you go, you know? I mean, not all of my family is like that. Like, there are probably in my family. Okay, I don't think I could like really like. I don't think the older people would empathize with me. I would say probably like 3 or 4 of my cousins. I think I actually like genuinely get along with, because I think they're respectable people, and pretty much everyone else in my family, I think, has like to some extent some like bad values. So it would be sad to think that like it's either like, you know, cut, I have to cut them all off, you know, or I have to cut a lot of people off for my own sake, my own sanity. But like, yeah, it's not ideal, honestly, you know, because I do think like your family, like if you look at like the pillars of life that make someone happy, I do think family is one of those. So to go without that, like, is like seriously disruptive to like your development, I feel. What should I get for dinner, guys? I had lunch with my cousin. I need to check what's on offer. But for now, oh my goodness. Okay. Oh my god, these emotes are so cute. Are any of these your emotes? Oh, you have you have a few of Coma's emotes. Some ASMR I cannot listen to because like it's too embarrassing to listen to, basically. Some of the more intimate ASMRs, it's like it's a bit too personal for me, or feels a bit too personal. I like my emails. I think my emails are really cute. You consume all ASMR? ASMR enthusiast. ASMR connoisseur. Yeah, that's fair. A lot of people like watching like these videos where like they break different kinds of clay. I didn't really understand that, but that's really popular. Alright, Mosik, thanks for hanging out. Bye. Have a good day. Hope to see you soon. Thank you guys again for Lilico and Calypsy for talking to me. Little old me. About anything and everything. I definitely think like, I mean, strictly speaking, I think like the Tingles ASMR is probably like, you know, more popular than like this the yapping ASMR. But something that I notice on a lot of people's streams is they have like a queue and you can like request what you want to hear. And so that kind of makes it easier for the stream to last long. Because like, if you run out of things to talk about, you can just like start, you know, making sounds. Oh man, I want my 3DO. When are they gonna ship my 3DO? Or like, God dang it, I want my 3DO yesterday. I don't think I would do tingles. I really don't think I would. But you know, when I get my 3DO, you know, if there was ever a time, it would be then, right? You want to get one too? They're expensive. Well, you can also get the you can get one of those Halo microphones for like $300. But apparently they're not even selling them right now. I think they're out of stock. Did you buy an interface? Yeah, I have an interface. Well, I had an interface for my, like, the mic I'm using now. I use an interface for, so I would just use the same one. It's gonna be like kind of annoying, like having to like unplug and replug to switch them out, but whatever. I'll manage. I'm still, I don't know which one to buy. I ended up going with the, well, I'm a sucker for name brands. So I ended up getting 3DO, but you know, from an actual like value, like actual like quality standpoint, they're probably like very similar. You know, I ended up getting a 3DO, and like, if you do decide to get a 3DO, it's almost like, for most people, it's, you should probably get the USB version, because like the XLR version doesn't sound like any better. It's just it uses XLR. And I only bought the XLR version because I didn't want to like have to keep replacing the battery in the actual microphone. Who should we raid today? 1 second, guys. I think I'd rather get a drawing tablet. Oh, are you really in the art? I haven't. I have like a really cheap drawing tablet that I used to use to play Osu. They can get pretty expensive. I mean, like, pretty much anything in any hobby can get pretty expensive, but, you know, drawing tablets are no exception. I feel like, I feel like it wasn't until, how long has Clip Studio Paint been out? I feel like I had never heard the term Clip Studio Paint until like the last few years. Like, was this always like the most popular drawing software? Oh, I also have the same brand, Huion. But then again, I'm terrible at art, so like I have no aptitude for art. I'm an extremely analytical person, so I'm not surprised that I'm terrible at art. I feel like a pilot learning Clip Studio Paint. Yeah, no, like that's like Photoshop. Like it's like any kind of editing software, like video editors, you know, art, what have you. It's insane how many like features they have. Like, I don't know if you could ever possibly learn be able to learn every single thing. Hello, Mia. Did I pronounce that right? Is Mia? Maya? Mia? I'm so sorry. You have to tell me how to pronounce it, and hope I'm gonna hope I can remember. Hello. There's a specific one that can be used on its own or hooked up to the PC. Oh, we're talking about what are we talking about? Tablets? Yeah? Wait, what? Yeah? Did I pronounce that right? Yeah? Yeah. Is that right? It sounds kind of. Is that? So I don't mean to like, like suggest that like it just seems like it's so like what I'm not used to. Me, yeah. Do you have any nicknames? Can I call you any nickname? Something, more intuitive? It'll be my nickname for you, so it'll be kind of special. Okay, anyways, we are at the 2 hour mark, so I do want to be ending here soon. Gecko Gahar. Can I just call you Gecko? How about Gecko? Is that acceptable? Alright guys, I think I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you all for coming. I could stream for another hour. Thank you for the follow. Gecko Gahara. I kind of told someone that I might play with them, so and I do need to go get some food. Well, thank you all for coming. I'm gonna raid what game am I gonna raid into? Well, I think like I'm probably gonna just raid into someone that does ASMR. I think it's kind of taboo to, not taboo, but like it's not preferable to raid someone that's doing a regular non-ASMR stream if you're doing ASMR, right? Like, what if people are sleeping and then like their ears just get blasted? It's like a uniquely ASMR category problem. I'm gonna raid Heron May. She's the homie. Okay. Yeah, I need to check both your channels out. Thank you again, YouTube, for keeping me company. I think it's funny that you both happen to be VTubers. Okay, have a good day, good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Bye, Calypsy. Bye, Bitter Ashes. Bye, Gecko Gahara. Bye, Yaz. Bye, Lilico. Bye, anyone else. Cue the outro screen.